Hello, seekers of the strange and shadows of the night. Welcome back. Tonight, we're venturing into a story that will make you question the very darkness that follows you. It's a tale about a man named Ethan and the shadow that knew too much. In every town, there's a legend, a whispered warning about a place to avoid after the sun sets. Maybe it's an old, abandoned house, a forgotten cemetery, or just a single, lonely street that nobody walks after midnight. The stories always say the same thing. Shadows move there. They twist and stretch, even when there's no light to cast them. But have you ever considered a more chilling possibility? What if the shadow isn't just a random specter lurking in the dark? What if it's not chasing you at all? What if it's following you? Because it already knows your secrets. Meet Ethan. On the surface, he was just like anyone else, an ordinary guy with a quiet life. He worked late at a sterile office, came home tired, and fell into the same predictable routine every single night. Eat, watch a little TV, sleep, repeat. Nothing exciting, nothing out of the ordinary, or so it seemed. But one particular Tuesday night, something broke the pattern. As he clicked off his bedside lamp, plunging the room into familiar darkness, he noticed something was wrong. His shadow, which should have dissolved into the black, remained. It just stood there on the wall, a dark, man-shaped silhouette, watching him. Ethan blinked, rubbing his eyes. To many hours staring at a screen, he muttered to himself, forcing a small, nervous laugh. He was exhausted, that had to be it. He rolled over, pulling the covers up to his chin, and willed himself to sleep, dismissing the strange trick of the light. But when morning came, the fear from the night before came rushing back, colder and more real than ever. Scrawled in the condensation on his bathroom mirror were two simple, chilling words. "You lied." His heart hammered against his ribs. He frantically wiped the message away with the sleeve of his shirt, his breath fogging the glass again. But when the mist cleared, new words appeared in the same spot, as if written by an unseen hand. "You can't hide from me." Panic began to set in. He tried everything he could think of to rationalize it, to fight it. He left all the lights in his apartment blazing, day and night, hoping to banish the darkness completely. Then he tried the opposite, sitting in total blackness, hoping the shadow would simply blend in and disappear. He replaced every single light bulb, he moved his furniture, he even tried sleeping in different rooms. But it was no use. The shadow was always there, an unnerving, silent companion. It followed him from room to room, a constant presence just at the edge of his vision. It began to move when he didn't, a subtle shift, a slight turn of its head. It watched him while he slept, a suffocating feeling of being observed that left him drenched in a cold sweat. Then, things got worse. The shadow started to whisper. At first, it was faint, like the rustling of leaves, but soon the sounds formed words. It whispered his own thoughts back to him, the ones he kept locked away deep inside. But the shadow's voice twisted them, making them sound darker, more sinister. The secret anxieties, the quiet regrets, the little white lies, he told himself they were all spoken back to him, amplified and distorted in the dead of night. Days bled into sleepless nights, and the nights became a waking nightmare. The line between reality and hallucination blurred. Ethan stopped sleeping altogether, his eyes wide and bloodshot, constantly scanning the corners of his apartment. His neighbors started to whisper. They could hear him through the thin walls, talking, sometimes arguing with someone even though they all knew he lived alone. The once quiet man was unraveling. One night, pushed to the absolute brink, Ethan snapped. He stood in the middle of his living room, staring down the dark figure on the wall, and screamed with all the air in his lungs, his voice raw with terror and rage. "I know who you are!" The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating, and then a voice answered back. It was a low, raspy sound that seemed to come from the very walls around him, and it was most definitely not his own. The next morning, the apartment was eerily quiet. The frantic talking had stopped. When the building manager used his master key to check on Ethan, the room was empty. Ethan was gone. The only thing that remained was a dark, scorched-looking shape on the wall. It was the unmistakable outline of a man, frozen mid-step as if trying to flee. The police were called, and they searched the apartment, finding no signs of a struggle, no evidence of a break-in. It was as if Ethan had simply vanished into thin air. A rookie officer, just to be thorough, flicked the light switch off. And in the sudden darkness, the shape on the wall vanished. They say that if you lie to yourself enough, if you bury your truths so deep that you almost forget them, your shadow will stop being a mere reflection. It becomes a vessel for everything you tried to hide. It becomes the truth. So tonight, when you re-alone and you happen to catch your reflection in a darkened window or a polished surface, take a good, long look. And make absolutely sure the person staring back is really you. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the dark. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next descent into the unknown. Until next time, stay safe and be careful what you hide in the shadows.